Hello. Sorry, I had the 11:45 class and it was very busy. And I had to pee before I got up.
All good.
There's Kristen.
Hey, ladies.
Hello.
Oh. Oh, I love the color of your wall, Kristen.
Oh, thanks.
I need to blur my background so people don't see how messy my office is.
Yeah,
I
same.
mean, humanity and reality is really appreciated, though.
That is true. That is true. One of our Instagram stories that got the most views was one day when I posted my incredibly messy kitchen and was like, and I'm leaving it like this so I can go to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, people like that. So we have like more than 20 people signed up. So we'll give them about 3 or 4 minutes to join and then we'll get started.
Fun.
I know, it's so fun. How do I fix it so I see you guys all? Show participants.
Are we allowed to talk right now?
Yeah, totally. Talk away.
What's the like pre-session vibe? I just wasn't really sure.
A pre-session vibe. Well, I'm excited. I just told my whole class about it.
So my eldest this afternoon has a special session with Maggie McNeil in the pool. Um,
Oh,
and I was threatening him that I was gonna like get in with the team, and he was like, "Mom, don't do that."
that's hilarious. So funny.
How old is
I
he?
mean,
Or she?
He's 11.
Yeah, kids love when we join in for their things.
Like peak embarrassment.
Totally. One of my kids has to go to Toronto for her vocals like competition with her vocals class at school, and they need parent volunteers. And I'm like, I'll come, and she's like, absolutely not. She's so funny.
and
Funny thing.
one of the joys of parenting, right, is the payback. I mean, they have challenged us for years and years. I love making them cringe. It is so
Oh,
fun.
totally. So our oldest, like I have my kids and then my stepkids. So my oldest, she's 22, and she just got her first apartment. And this kid, and I love her dearly, is like to live with. She is disgusting. Like wants to make poke bowls and with fish, and she shoved it under her bed when she was done with it. And we were like a week later, like, what does that smell? Like literally, like laundry basket downstairs to collect all of the dishes because I have no cups or plates or spoons or forks, you know. Anyways, I go into her place. It's spotless. All the dishes are washed. I'm like, so I'm going to steal all your chargers. I'm going to hide the remote control. I'm going to use every single cup in your cupboard for one drink of water, like one sip of water. Like, then I'm going to borrow your clothes and not give them back. Anyways, I resisted all my urges and I was respectful of her space, but it was like every time I go in there, I'm like, oh, I just want to mess things up for you.
I can't wait
Okay,
to do that to them.
it's 12:03. There's Lisa joining. Also, Molly, it's good to see your face. I really appreciate your Instagram story, so I still get to see you and your cute little man, but I haven't seen you in a long time. It's great to see you. So, for those of you who are already here, I'm going to introduce my panelists so you can wave when I say your name. I've got Amy, she's in my top left corner. I've got Yael and Kristen and Sarah. And that's all of us, right? One, two, three. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Is there one more? Oh, Jessie, who's not here. That's okay. She's crazy busy. Hopefully she makes it in. Okay, so let's start off. I would like each of you guys just to tell me just, 30 seconds or so, a little bit about you, your life, kind of how old your kids are, work, life, partner, whatever. You're up first, Amy.
All right. I am 46. I have three kids. They are 9, 12, and 13. I have a husband. My story looks different from a lot of people's because I have the luxury of working from home. which offers me a lot of flexibility. I work for the government. I think it's worth saying I don't have a history with the gym. This is not something I did growing up. I'm not one of those people who, feels really at home in the gym. I played sports occasionally in high school, nothing long term. I did aerobic videos because my role model would have been my mom, and that was her experience with fitness as well. My kids are in sports, many sports, each of them, some of them competitive. So that kind of dictates my life and how I spend my time.
That's a very busy time. Yael, you're up.
Yeah. I'm 42. I have two kids, 12-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl. And I also work from home. So definitely a lot of flexibility there. And similar to Amy, I don't have a long history of the gym aside from the last couple of years with Love Your Body, but I always viewed myself more as like a team sports or, tennis kind of person. I perceive the gym as furthest away as possible from who I was as a person. And yeah, that's really it.
Awesome. Kristen.
Hi, everybody. Kristen. I am 41. I have a husband and two little people. One's 11 and one is 7.5. I've been pretty active my whole life, but the first half of my life was spent dancing and really only discovered what in my mind is measurable physical activity later in my life. And so for me, what I mean by that is instead of looking at my ability based on what it looks like in dance, shifting my focus to performance and looking at, times and how fast and how much I can lift and more objective measures of gains. And so that's been sort of in the latter half of my life and definitely something that I've really loved at LYB.
I love that so much. And Sarah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah. I'm 42. I have no, he's not 9 yet, 8-year-old son who also plays the sports. Hockey and baseball are the big ones right now. I'm self-employed. I'm a naturopathic doctor, so I also have lots of flexibility in my schedule. And I've always been active. I always did sports growing up. I ran, and then I was doing Pilates when Kate found me and encouraged me to do something different. And so I've been training at Love Your Body for almost a year and a half now, and I love it. So I'm excited to be here.
Amazing. Well, I'm so excited to hear all the things that you have to say. So I tell people all the time, listen, if you make the time for fitness, everything in your life gets better. Your relationships get better, your energy gets better, your mood gets better, your sleep gets better, your sex gets better. I don't care how busy you are. Exercise gives you more time because it creates efficiency. You just get stuff done better. You can focus, but it literally impacts all areas of your life. But when I say it, I own a gym. You're like, oh yeah, whatever. So I'm really excited to hear your stories and how exercise impacts your life and why it matters so much to you. All right. So let's start by, the first question is what motivates you to make fitness a priority? We want to hear about short-term and long-term. And this is talking about what is your why? Why are you committed to fitness? You want to go first, Amy? You're leading the way today.
Sure. I mean, I took notes on prepared. For me, I don't want to feel heavy in my body. I just want to feel capable and remain capable. I didn't have kids. I was pretty old when I had kids. My kids are probably going to be pretty old when they have kids. I want to be long-term. I want to be a grandma who can be there, who can be supportive and energetic and look after them. And yeah, I just want to feel good. That's it. And it's short term, it's noticeable whether I go to the gym or not, whether or not I feel good.
A great answer. I love what you said about the grandkids. I'm right there with you. I want to do all the things with my grandkids. How about you, Gail? What's your why and what motivates you to make your fitness a priority for short term and long term?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it started with I just wanted to start developing healthy habits in general. I read this book. You guys might be familiar with it. It's the James Clear book, Atomic Habits, right? And I mean, I always struggle with fitness and just consistency, honestly, in almost anything. I wanted to become a consistent person at something. So for me, it was okay. I need to just go to a gym, and even if I do terribly, even if I, put in 10 minutes instead of whatever 45 minutes, I just need to become that person that does this. So yeah, it started that way, just wanting to change certain aspects of my life. Yeah, and from then on, it just kind of took a life of its own, and you start seeing the changes in your body, and you're like, oh my God, this looks great. So yeah.
I love that. And tell me about how that plays into long-term goals.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I've always felt kind of like in the past felt tired. I was kind of tired of feeling tired all the time. So I wanted more energy, and I'm like long term, I want to feel stronger, have more energy throughout my day to carry me. And that is I've definitely seen the impact of that. It's been unbelievable, really.
I love that. All right, Kristen, what's your why? And tell me about how that impacts you short term and long term.
Well, I like want to pick up on what Yael said, because honestly, the whole idea about habits and for me, it's even maybe one step further. It's like it's just become a system for me. I a lot of why I think I started being more consistent with exercise was initially for mental health reasons, and the idea that like there will be obviously physical benefits, but like as far as the hormone release that you get from exercise and just like feeling good in your body, and like that was a huge piece. But my emotional bandwidth is like zero. So people will ask me like, where do you find the motivation? It's like, I actually have no motivation. I have a system, and like it's kind of on autopilot, and that's how it happens. So day to day, it's just part of what I do. But long term, it kind of has come full circle for me, and really being a mother to a daughter, and like thinking that we've come so far as how we talk about female bodies and women's bodies, and realizing that unfortunately we haven't in a lot of ways, that like we may be in tune with that healthy representation, but the media still isn't. And I see how my daughter is inundated with like really negative messaging. And so again, like coming back to that objective demonstration of strength and power and like ability, talking about what our bodies can do as opposed to what they look like, is something that I really try to reinforce with her. And so that is absolutely a part of the longer term motivation.
I love that so much. As a mother of daughters, I think that is so huge, because you're exactly right. We start to hear them like in grade 2, starting to evaluate whether their body is big or small, all of that stuff. And I think that our mothers are probably our biggest teachers in terms of how we should see our bodies and how we should treat our bodies. So that's brilliant, Kristen. Thank you. And Jessie made it. Yeah, go ahead, Kristen. You got one more thing to say.
Yeah, I was just thinking though, even what I just said, because like a little while ago, I went to my son's classroom and I was presenting on storytelling and the use of pictures to tell stories. And I had a picture of Simone Biles doing like this incredible backflip on the beam, and like she was jacked. And I used those words like in describing the picture and trying to get the kids to think about just what this picture's story was. Like, okay, it's an athlete, it's a gymnast, but like, what is this telling you? And I said, like, look at her, like she's jacked. And the boys in the class snickered and the girls were silent. And like, so the role modeling there, I think it's immediately relevant to our daughters, but it's also like important for the boys too,
Yeah.
So I think that's also, I just didn't want to miss that part.
Yeah, no, that's really, really brilliant, Kristen. Thank you. All right, Sarah, you are up, and then Jesse, I will introduce you. You're perfect timing. Don't worry about a thing. No, don't be sorry.
I'll pick
So,
up on what Kristen
yeah,
said,
so
and
yeah,
that
so it's what motivates you to make fitness a priority in the short term and in the long term. What is your why?
yeah. The short term is just how it makes me feel. And for me, it's really relating to my body, not for its appearance, but for its function, right? And every time I go to the gym, I'm always so impressed at how strong I actually am. And that just feels so good. Even though I am currently at the heaviest weight I've ever been, I feel so confident in my body because of what it's able to do. My long-term motivation, and Kate and I have talked about this, is that I want to be like a strong old lady who can carry her groceries. Part of my work is that I work with a lot of women in menopause. And if I showed you the graph of what happens to your bones and your muscles in the 4 years around your last period, it's very bad. And so when I turned 40, that was like a huge motivation. I'm like, I want strong old lady bones and I want strong old lady muscles. So that's like my long-term goal. But the other thing I think we don't talk about enough, especially as parents, is that we're role modeling for our kids. And I think if you ask any parent, they want their kids to be healthy. And yet we forget that the number one person they're looking up to, especially if they're young, is us. So I also make my health a priority because I'm showing my son that even though I work and I have other responsibilities, that it's something that's really important to me. So that's the other way that it really helps me to be consistent. Even though there's a million other things I could be doing, is I'm really like I take that role modeling very seriously as well.
I love that. Yeah, like I try to teach everyone, and kids especially, we sleep to take care of our bodies, we eat to take care of our bodies, right? Like we do all these things that are just, we shower, hopefully most days of the week. You just exercise your body is like just part of those things that you do to take care of yourself. It's not really like a negotiable. It's just part of life. I love that. Okay, Jesse made it, which is amazing. Jesse is a doctor. I don't know how many doctors you know, but they work way too many hours. They see way too many patients. There's not enough of them. And the fact that you made time for this today in your very busy schedule is brilliant. Thank you very much for being here. Well, so happy to hear what you have to say. So Jessie quickly is a mom. She's got 3 kids that go from grade 9 to grade 2. Mm-hmm. Her husband is also a surgeon, so he works basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And Jessie works at 2 different places while still managing time for getting in some workouts. But sum it up.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much.
It's a busy life just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So I think my answers to your question are pretty similar to Sarah. I didn't hear all of Kristen's, but the tail end of it, I think also similar. And so, I would say the reason why I'm working out now is maybe different from why I first started working out and why I want to continue maintaining, good fitness in my life. When I started, it was because I recognized that I had a lot of risk factors in my family from a medical perspective in terms of cardiovascular disease and bone health. So lots of osteoporosis in my family. In the women. So, Sarah, what you just said really, speaks to me in terms of one of the reasons why I got started. But then over time, the reason why I go when I do go is because I just love it. It's fun. And I'm just so happy with the changes that I see in my body and how strong I'm becoming. So, and it's that functional piece that I've been really loving. Last summer being able to load up, big logs for camping into the top of my car without even, thinking about it was something that I couldn't have done before, which is the reason why I go back all the time right now, is because of how much function I'm seeing in my body and how I'm able to use my body now in a way that I couldn't before. I used to have to ask for more help and stuff like that. So I love that piece of it. And then in terms of, why do I want to see this in my life long term? Is I want to be that strong lady carrying their groceries. Absolutely. I want to try and, mitigate any kind of risk factors that I have in my family and feel like I did as much as I could, in terms of what, health conditions might be meeting me in the future. And then also being a role model for my kids to have that fitness in their life. And I do see it. I see my kids playing in the gym. Like, we have a little home gym in addition to going to Love Your Body. And so I see my kids playing in the gym and really loving trying to like do the stuff that they see me doing. Which I foresee as being extremely helpful in terms of allowing them to make that a priority in their lives moving forward, which ultimately will show them health benefits as well.
I love that. And one of the things that you said, which was brilliant, was how you're mitigating your health risk factors by coming into the gym. And we forget that that's actually something we're doing for our kids as well, right? When most of us are at an age now where we probably have aging parents that may or may not be having some health issues at this point. And it takes a big toll on kids, right? So making this time for you right now is one of the biggest gifts you can give to your children. Okay, I would like to hear about what your biggest challenge or obstacle is when it comes to staying fit as a mom, and how you overcome it, what you put in place to manage it. You're up, Amy.
I am my biggest challenge. Me and my brain. When Kristen talked about how it's just autopilot and it's a system to going to the gym, I am in awe of you. For me, it's always hard work, especially when I fall off the wagon and have to go back. So this morning, last night, I had a bad night. I don't know what was going on in the neighborhood. Some animal was trying to kill another animal. I did not sleep well. When I woke up this morning, my first thought was literally like, I'm tired. I should probably rest and not work out today. And I don't know why my brain does this, because on paper, it's not true. If I go to the gym, I'm going to feel better. So I'm absolutely my biggest challenge. And how do I come across it? One of it is just, with experience and knowledge. I used to take that rest time when I didn't feel good and I wouldn't go to the gym and I would feel worse and worse and worse. Now I know that I need to go back to the gym before I feel ready for the gym. That's the big thing, is that there's times you're going to fall off and you can't go. Sometimes it's between going to the gym and eating's going to win that day. Yeah. But it's a matter of finding my way back to the gym and having a plan for it. That is the biggest thing. And it was great what Yael said about Atomic Habits. I recommend that to everyone. It is such a good book with really actionable things. I think they should make a women's version, because I don't think it's necessarily the right tone for everyone. It's kind of a bro book, but it is all about actionable. So yes, I'm my biggest obstacle. And there's just a lot of introspection required to examine why I have the feelings I do, why when I fall off the gym, it's like going back for the first time and I'm insecure about it, and just finding that class that allows you to come back. The one where, your friend's going to be there, or maybe no one you know is going to be there because you don't feel good that day, or maybe it's the coach that you need to see that day.
I love what you said about going back before you feel ready. There's at the end of the day, there's going to be a million days where you don't feel like going, you don't feel ready. But what's going to matter to your body when you're 85 years old is that you showed up consistently, right? Whether or not you felt ready. That's all that matters, is just showing up and doing what you can when you get there.
Yeah. And just one more thing is changing the perspective on your excuses. My brother's coming to town tonight. Haven't seen him for months. My house is a mess. And I just need to be like, well, he used to fart on me, so it's okay that my house is messy. I really should go to the 3 o'clock class today. It's I deserve it. I deserve more. They deserve less than I think they do.
Yes, I love it. I love that. He used to fart on me. All right. Yeah. What do you think your biggest challenge is, and what do you have in place to overcome whatever your biggest obstacle is?
Yeah, absolutely relates so much to what Amy said. I'm my own worst enemy in many ways in that sense. I am so, like I said, I have 2 kids. Before, I would share custody so I'd have week on, week off. And I felt like the week that I didn't have them, I'd really be able to focus and hone in on things and, go to the classes that I really wanted to. But now my son lives with me full time. So now there are a lot of sacrifices. Oh, I have to pick him up from school. I have to this, I have to that. So it narrows down what I can do and when. And of course, like I said, I have that flexibility now with work, but life is dynamic, constantly changing. Maybe tomorrow there'll be a crazy project that is so I'm trying to work towards Kristen's system where there's like a block of time where I just book it and I go, and I'm exercising, setting boundaries with myself, with other people, with work. If they book time during that time, I literally cancel meetings. I move them around. I do a whole bunch of crazy stuff with my schedule to try and protect that time block. And that's really been helpful. So
sounds like you are in Kristen's program.
Trying.
Yeah, sounds like you are. How about you, Kristen? You also have a husband with a crazy schedule. We forgot to mention that.
Yeah, so I forgot to mention I work full time for a health charity, but also from home. So that offers me a huge amount of flexibility, but that also comes really as a necessity because my husband's schedule is completely inflexible. So I am absolutely the primary parent, and he would 100% agree in with that. And so I'm the carpool, and I'm the errands and the sick parent picking kids up. And so when I talk about a system, there's a lot of flexibility in that system. And I think there also has to be flexibility in any system. Otherwise it's deflating when, things go sideways. So for me, like what that would look like, because Josh's schedule changes every single week, is just knowing that I've got however many workouts I want to get in, and it's going to move around from one week to another, but it is blocked off. The other, safety valve that I've got there as far as the accountability piece is turning in or adding in a social component. And I think a couple of you have mentioned that too, about like a friendly face at the gym, or in my case, my running buddy. And there have been some like horrendous conditions that I have run through because she's there. And because like she's arranged a babysitter, and it's like, oh my God, it's freezing rain, but you've got a babysitter, like we're going, so just having that other person and turning it into a moment to connect also just adds that extra layer of accountability or making sure that you show up when things get tough.
Yeah. Well, and you also have your training buddy for, you and Jeff. We're here in open gym. Kristen and one of our other members, Jeff, trained together, and they're insane. It's great in a very good way. Love it. How about you, Sarah? What's your biggest obstacle, and what do you have in place in your life to overcome that?
I think for me, it's the same. It's scheduling and my own brain. So one thing I've learned is that I will just not work out at home. So I'm going to stop pretending that that's going to happen, because it's not. So I go for personal training twice a week because I know Patrick is there waiting for me, and I will show up if there is someone there waiting for me. So for me, external accountability is huge. The other thing that has been really important for me is like lowering the bar. So when I started going to Love Your Body, I was not aiming to be there 5 days a week. I literally aimed to be there once a week because I was adding it to other things. And because I only aim for once a week, I probably went 48 out of, weeks out of the year. And once it was a routine, then like a habit, this year I added a second session. So I also think just lowering the bar sometimes and aiming for something small. And then once you figure that out, you add to it. That also has been very helpful for me.
You guys both just touched on something really important, and that is, as a group of type A women, we are all really attached to that all or nothing principle. So something that happens really frequently is people do exactly what you just said. I'm going to start going to the gym. I need to go 5 days a week or 6 days a week, at 6 a.m. And like, that's what's going to happen. And then the minute you miss one workout, it's all over, right? Because you screwed everything up, you've ruined everything, and now you're not that person anymore. So you're just not going to the gym. And so like what Kristen said about making sure there's flexibility within your routine, you know, like all is not lost if you have to move the time of your workout, or if you get one less workout than the 5 you were planning, right? It's okay. Or what Sarah just said about one was all you could manage, and now you realize you can manage more, so you've added that second one in. Really, really smart. Jessica, how about you?
It's me again. I'm the one who's the problem in terms of, and I'm still a work in progress. But I would say, you know, the external accountability, I totally agree with that. So I have my personal training session, it's booked. And not only am I protecting that time, but I also have then this motivation to make sure that I fit in exercise at other times, because I want that session to be great. I want it to be useful. I want to have done some stuff in between so that when I go, I'm ready. My body's ready to do stuff. So I think protecting that time has been really important. This has been a long journey for me to try and like figure out how I best exercise. And I think the excuses that I used to make, I'm getting better at not making those excuses as much anymore. So I used to be a runner, and I felt like I needed to always have an hour, you know, at least at a time. And what I've learned through the boot camps, through the classes, through working with my trainer, et cetera, is that, gosh, if you only have 10 minutes, you could really work hard in 10 minutes and feel pretty amazing afterwards. So being able to fit in, like even just like short little stretches. I used to find figuring out when I'm going to eat and when I'm going to shower was an excuse for me. You know, like I need to work out in the morning before I have a shower, or at night before I go to bed, because otherwise I can't fit the shower in. Or, you know, if I eat too much, if I try to work out right after a meal, then I don't feel good. And so trying to navigate some of that in my mind around when I eat and how that fits in, and how, you know, if I haven't eaten anything, there are some things that I can eat that will provide me with a little bit of nourishment and still allow me to work out without that being an excuse anymore. So I found ways to kind of navigate the things that used to be excuses. And then I also try and protect that. I protect that personal training time with my life. So
Yeah, and that's you and Sarah, and actually Kristen does personal training as well. It's something that I like really do recommend for anybody who just is really struggling with keeping the commitment to themselves, because it makes it really easy, right? Like there's somebody standing there waiting for you. Even if you do once a week with a trainer and the rest of the workouts by yourself, but you don't really have to think. You're like, oh, there's someone waiting there, I have to go. And then you did it and it's over. Perfect. Okay, I would like to hear about oh, what does Molly have to say? Where's my chat box? Hang on. I had to make my screen bigger.
We're getting a bunch of Insta handles.
Oh, I love it. That's great. Okay, cool. All right. I would like to hear, what is the one accomplishment or milestone in your fitness journey that you are the most proud of? Amy.
I've been coming to Kate's gym for about 2 years now, and I'm most proud that I haven't quit. This is longer than I have sustained anything, and I have had periods where I haven't come for 2-3 months. And I right now am working consistently. So to me, as my own biggest obstacle, that is my proudest moment. Another one, which is a side note, which I think is pretty awesome, is one day my husband and I were moving a couch. It was a sectional. And he's like, oh my God, this is really heavy. And I looked at him and I was like, is it? I genuinely had not noticed how heavy the couch was. So as my goal being somebody who just wants to be capable in my body and able to move and function and independent and do things, that was just one of those like, yeah, this is why I do this. And it's fantastic.
I love that. I love that. How about you, Yael? What are you the most proud of?
Yeah, definitely the daily wins are amazing. I went snowboarding this season with a group of people, and usually, you know, you ski a whole day. The next day, everybody's like, my quads, my glutes, my hamstrings are shot, like can't move. And I was fine, like I was doing great. So I just felt strong. I could keep going for an extra day, and yeah, I definitely attribute that to the work in the gym. I love the weightlifting competition. That was the first, and I really enjoyed it. It was fantastic.
I was about to say, I feel like we need to talk about your deadlift in the weightlifting competition. That's something you're proud of, because I saw your face that day. What did you lift that day? What was your deadlift?
I broke the 200 mark, which I was super proud of. I hung my little certificate here, showing it off to people and stuff. It was great.
So great. Talking about numbers that matter. That's a number that matters. That's cool. I love it. Kristen, how about you? What are you the most proud of in your fitness journey? And those of you guys who don't know Kristen, she's like a very elite level athlete. So she competes at the world level in triathlons. She can run marathons like so fast you don't even see her go by. She can clean and jerk 150 pounds. So I'm actually really excited to hear what you're the most proud of, because you have accomplished a ton while overcoming a lot of injuries.
Yeah, I think there's like a lot of different milestones along the way. Amy, what you said about the couch really resonated, because my neighbor invited me over the other day to help them stack their dryer on top of their washing machine. And it wasn't because I was like the second choice. So that was kind of cool. I think I will focus on the injury piece, Kate. Actually, last year, my mind wanders and I fell in a pothole on the Byron Path, like behind the gym last February, and like twisted my ankle pretty badly. And I had a really big race 10 weeks later and was really demoralized. Not to mention I couldn't walk, so I couldn't like take my kids to school normally, like just normal life. But like when you're consistently working towards something, and that's also part of what keeps you accountable, it was really demoralizing. And so I just kind of like regrouped quickly, and things that Kate has said to me over the years. Like my mom is in my head, but also truly Kate is in my
Sorry.
like my mom and Kate. And one of the things that you said a long time ago, like especially you can't like take your body for granted if you're in this for longevity, and so there are other things that you're gonna have to invest in, and physio for me was one of them. So I fell in this pothole and I couldn't weight bear, and I went to physio and I was like, look, I have this race in 10 weeks, like is this happening? And they were also such pros, and they're like, okay, we're gonna meet you where we're at, and we're gonna chip away at this and we'll see. And so I worked through it and like just really diligently, and then I came to the gym and I did a whole bunch of things upside down, like you guys came up with creative programming that I could still work out and not be on my actual feet. And like again, so the system was still in play, and I was moving and I was seeing people, and I was just chipping away, and ended up being a personal best race for me. And so that was just a big breakthrough, because it reinforced everything that you have always said, like sometimes it doesn't come out of the blue sometimes, you got to like just be consistent and chip and chip and chip. And in spite of when things really go sideways, you can still make huge gains.
Totally. And you just touched on something huge, which is training through injuries. It's a conversation that I have with people on a regular basis, is like consistency is what matters for our brains, for our schedules, for our mental health, for every reason, for keeping the habit. We have to show up every day, or whatever consistency you normally do. And I regularly have these conversations with people. They're like, I just rolled my ankle, put my gym membership on hold for 3 months. I'm like, no, there is always things you can do. You will feel better because you did them. And frankly, you will recover better, faster, and stronger with a lot more knowledge about what your body needs. If you carefully, doesn't mean ignore it, right? Carefully, strategically train through your recovery. And I watched you do that recovery. It was very impressive. And I remember when you went to run your race, and I was so anxious for you, and then it went so well.
Well, I mean, but you're the living, breathing of that, like Miss Hip Replacement, like God, an ankle. I mean, an ankle is an ankle, but like, I think you also really put your money where your mouth is, Kate.
That is true. That is true. I worked hard on that recovery, still working hard on it. Sarah, how about you? What are you the most proud of?
I ran a marathon, I don't even know, 8, 9, 10 years ago. And that is it wasn't the physical accomplishment is one thing for me. It's like the mental fortitude to keep running when every part of your body is like, please stop. So I'm very proud. I also was like, I never need to do another one ever again. I don't know how people do that and get hooked. That wasn't, I'm like, I'm check mark done. I'm good. In terms of more recent, I just feel like every time I go to, like yesterday, Patrick was like, you're gonna do walking lunges with two 35-pound dumbbells. And I looked at him like, are you insane? Like, if Patrick has a hard time moving the dumbbell, I'm scared. And I fucking did it. And I was like, I never would have done that. I never would have picked up two 35-pound dumbbells and done walking lunges. So I just impress myself every time I'm in there. And that's why it's just, you're like, just love it. It's so
That's
great.
so great. And if you guys don't know Patrick, he's like 6'5". So 35-pound dumbbells look like fives in his hands, but they look like real weights for the rest of us. It's hilarious. And I keep seeing you get so much stronger in here. I'm so proud of you. Jesse, how about you? What are you the most proud of?
A few like little things, like a little big things for me. Like I think my consistency has gotten a lot better, which I'm happy about. And I would say that something I'm really proud of is my symmetry, which is something that I've been working really hard on. So, Kate is my personal trainer, and I've been working with her for a very long time. And when we first started doing squats together, she was like, "Why are you going sideways?" Because I would go down and then I would come up to the side. Do you remember that? And so I worked really hard on my symmetry. And so I think that's, well, we've worked really hard together on my symmetry and coming up with sort of like my physio, if you will, at the beginning of workouts that helps me maintain that. And I think that's a big part of it. The other one that I just wanted to say is that I really like that my kids now, when they're working out, they're like, I'm doing it like mom, which I really like. Look at, I can carry this. I'm strong like you, mom, you know, and I do like hearing that. So
I love that. What about your 99.5-pound clean and jerk? That's also pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to hear from you guys. What is we talked about systems, but I would like to hear what exactly it is that you do to schedule your workouts and protect your time. Like, tell me exactly what steps you take, because this is what people need to hear, so that they can do it themselves. How do you do it, Amy?
Well, as much as I work from home, I work for the government. So I have meetings and things in my day, but there is a little bit of flexibility. So I wake up early naturally. It'll make some people want to throw up, but I start my day at like 5:30 in the morning if I'm awake, because no one else is up. What else am I going to do? And that way in my calendar, I block off from 11:30 to 1:30 every day so that I can go to that workout. I was in a meeting today that's some emergency thing that's going long, and I was like, sorry guys, I gotta go. So I physically block off that time starting early to account for it, because I know I can't pick it up later in the day.
Love it. How about you, Gail?
Yeah, I do pretty much the same. I block my calendar 10:30 to 11:30 to 10 past 1, something like that. Especially in strength days and high rocks days. Yeah, challenging. But it becomes even more important that I block it off. I probably don't look at the programming, just so that I don't get any, tempted to drop that time block. But yeah, it's just booking the calendar.
It's just booking the calendar. Yeah. And telling the people that need to know that you're unavailable.
100%.
Yeah. How about you, Kristen? What's your system?
Well, kind of like what they have both said, Yael and Amy, but the other thing that I've also recently started to do, and it's taken me literally like 11 years of parenthood to get to this point, is allowing myself to pay for a babysitter occasionally. We moved back to Ottawa from Halifax to be closer to family, and thought that we would have more support than we actually do. I, for a really long time, just felt like I didn't deserve to hire a babysitter. I guess it sounds maybe silly to some of you, but like I wouldn't hesitate to maybe buy myself a coffee or, like some other small thing, except babysitting didn't seem like it was an allowable expense. And I don't know, this is a mental hurdle in my own mind, but starting to do that, even just for like 3 hours on a Sunday morning or whatever, has just made such a difference to my own sanity and making me feel like a human. And I wish I had been okay with myself doing that sooner, but I'm very happy at least I've started doing that now.
I love that. And then do you plan, like, do you look at your calendar for the week and plan out which workout times you're going to have? Do you have the same times each week? What do you do?
Yeah, so again, it changes every week because Josh's schedule changes every week, but I know exactly how many things I have to do and roughly how long those things are. And so it's almost like a digital post-it note situation where I will sit in front of my Outlook and I will block those things off. And if I need support, I will like make that call or hire that person. And sometimes I also just end up saying no to things because that workout or whatever is actually more important. So again, I've been more comfortable saying no for a long time than I have been hiring a babysitter. But the no is huge, and so I am absolutely an advocate for declining things because that's more important to me.
Love it. You know what I'm working on right now is saying no without giving a reason. Just like no, like
No is a complete sentence.
yeah, no, that's not going to work for me. Maybe it's because I want to go home and get in my bed, right? Yeah, I love it. How about you, Sarah? What's your system? I think your system is personal training, right? Your system is you have the appointment booked, it's just done, you don't even have to think about it.
100. It's the no thinking that works well for me. The other thing, going back to the all or nothing, is what I think about as like exercise snack. So if I have like a little 15 or 20-minute window that I wasn't expecting in my day, I will just go and walk around the block. So for me, it's like finding those little opportunities to get even a small little thing in, and those things add up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love that.
There
she is. We lost you for a second there, Jessie.
Sorry, it froze. So, and then I noticed I was moving, but everyone else was frozen. It wasn't. So I was like, oh, I think it's me. I think I'm the problem. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So the question is, what is your system to make sure that you get your workouts in? And I know you already have your personal training scheduled, but you squeeze in a couple more most weeks. So what's your system to get those in?
So I'm better on the weekends than I am during the week in terms of being able to schedule a longer session. I mentioned before that it's taken a little bit of a mindset change in terms of being able to navigate just to being okay with having like a shorter workout. And so what I have learned is that I'm not a morning person, unlike some of what you guys have said. As much as I would love to be, I want to be, and I just am not. I am much more likely to continue snoozing that alarm and not prioritize it and prioritize sleep instead. I tend to be a bit more of a night hawk because that's when I get more of my work done once the kids have gone to bed. But I do find that once I start into like making dinner and getting the kids off to activities, like I've lost my window. So I try to do something between work and other stuff, so that's the window where I try to put stuff. And I've realized that I don't prioritize it at other times of the day. It needs to be sort of before I get into kid stuff at night.
And you just touch on something really important, which is figuring out the time of the day that works the best for you and then not fighting it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I was doing early mornings for years because that was the only time I could protect. And now I'm really feeling some hormonal things. So I shifted to daytime workouts. And you really just have to figure out what works for you and then lean into it. Okay, we're running towards the end of our time. So quickly, I would like to hear from you. If you look back on your fitness journey, whether it's a long one or a short one, what's the biggest lesson you've learned and about balancing motherhood and self-care? And what advice would you give to a fellow mom who's trying to make time for herself, for her own workouts? You're up, Amy.
I guess one of the biggest things I learned is that I'm a horrible person if I don't work out. And so I am doing everyone a favor by going to the gym. So that's it. Everything goes better when I go to the gym. It's better for them. It's also better for them that I'm modeling it. That it's just the most important thing is going to the gym. The advice that I would give people, I mean, have an accountability partner is always very good. Go back to the gym before you feel ready. Go when you don't feel like going. Remember that you can leave anytime. You build the habit by showing up. That's the hardest part. And Kate said something to me once. Working out is something you get to do. Change your mindset. I know it's hard. Burpees suck. It feels like a chore, but going to the gym is something that you get to do to treat yourself, to not be at home looking at the piles of laundry on the floor in front of you, being a human. It is a gift to yourself to go to the gym.
Take it off of the to-do list with like cleaning the toilets and putting it on the to-do list of like giving myself 20 extra minutes of sleep in bed on Sunday mornings, right? Like it's a beautiful gift that you give yourself. I love that. Yael, how about you? What's the biggest lesson you've learned about balancing motherhood and self-care? And what advice would you give to a mom who's trying to figure it all out?
Yeah, biggest lessons I've learned, definitely the modeling to my children piece. You know, I've tried to motivate my kids with sports verbally in so many different ways, but ever since I started going to the gym, I actually see the impact it has on my son, and he actually wants to go to the gym and he's interested in it. So I see the impact it's having, and it's amazing to see that, you know, perfect is the enemy of good, and that set me back for a long time, right? And that's also the advice I would give, is just going, right? Like, even if tell yourself whatever story you need to tell yourself to go, even if it's sometimes I look at the program, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to scale everything down today, but I'm going to go. And then you go and you end up actually doing things great, better than you thought you were going to do. So yeah, just developing that habit and keeping it consistent.
I love that. I regularly trick myself. It works.
Yeah.
Kristen, how about you? Biggest lesson you've learned about balancing motherhood and self-care, and what advice would you give to a mom who's working on all this?
So I think especially because of the kind of community that you've built, Kate, like I think it's really got a lot more layers going on, especially with the parent focus than just physical fitness. I think community is a big part of it. But one of the things that I have sort of experienced in the last number of years is really understanding that sometimes going to the gym is not going to be enough for what I need to do to address self-care or like my mental health in particular. And there was one workout in particular that I'm thinking of actually in your driveway. We were doing like a very simple exercise. I was like doing glute bridges, maybe with a kettlebell on my pelvis, which I suppose is not always the most comfortable, but I just started crying in the middle of this exercise.
I remember.
Yeah. And I remember being like, I want to go home. And I remember realizing, like, at that point, holy shit, you know what? Exercise is not cutting it for me. I have some other issues that I need to work through. And for me, that ended up being medication. And like, that is also, I think, a huge piece of motherhood, honestly, like, as far as the balance goes, recognizing that sometimes this is just part of a larger equation, and sometimes this is going to have to give in favor of other pieces. So especially for new moms or parents who are like really in the thick of it and struggling, that, you know, there are other things that you can pursue for support that can not only make the exercise side of it feel better, but maybe you need to look at before, you know, focusing exclusively on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like exercise is going to positively impact most things in your life. It can't solve all problems. And, you know, things like hiring a babysitter, getting meds when you need them, like support yourself. You need it. Yeah, and deserve it. Sarah, how about you? So the question is, what's the biggest lesson you've learned about balancing motherhood and self-care? And what advice would you give to a fellow mom who's trying to do the same?
So my first advice is to be realistic about the season you're in. Like, having an 8-year-old is very different than having a 6-month-old that you're nursing all the time. So be realistic. Stop looking at like men on the interweb who have wives who do everything for advice on habits. And like, just what is the minimum dose? Like, I always talk to my patients, what's the minimum dose you can do? And just try to at least hit that as your goal and celebrate if you're hitting the minimum dose. And then my other piece of advice is don't leave self-care only until after 9 p.m. Like, if you're only getting self-care when your kids go to bed, it's never going to be enough. So we need to find ways to insert self-care and things that matter to us during the day, not just when we're exhausted and the only thing we can manage is some kind of scrolling. So that's what I would say.
Oh, I love that. I've started letting myself read my book for 10 minutes in the morning in bed. Like, I don't get out of bed. And it's like, it's such a great, it's not
luxurious.
It's just for joy and relaxation. And it really puts me in a good mood for the day, gives me energy for the day. It's brilliant. Jessie, you are last. What's your biggest lesson you've learned about balancing motherhood and self-care? And what advice would you give to someone who's trying to figure out how to do the same?
I didn't hear what everybody said because my internet was not working. Apologies for that. But I would say a couple of things would be managing expectations, not only expectations of myself, but expectations of other people in my world in terms of what they are capable of contributing to the picture, seeking help where that help needs to come in. So, what Sarah spoke to is that like at different times of your life, there may be different challenges in terms of navigating the schedule, and maybe there's some additional support that could come in. So if I say to my husband, like, I really need you to like clean the kitchen, and he says, well, I can't do it. Maybe he actually can't do it, and maybe I can't either, and maybe we need some help with someone to clean the kitchen, right? So managing the expectations of everybody. And then also something that I've worked on, which has been challenging, is also being able to ask for that help. So I think I always maybe thought that I was asking by suggesting that I, or was frustrated about certain things. And maybe, my partner should have understood what that meant. And I think I've learned over time that I just need to be clearer about what it is that I need. I need this time for myself. This is the time that I need you to be able to help out. Can you help me out? And if not, what do we need to put in place to allow us both to have that help so I can still prioritize what I need? So I guess being clear, asking for help, and having reasonable expectations for everybody involved in the question.
I love that. One of the things everyone really touched on there is support, right? We need support, and women in particular, right? We're working, we're taking care of our kids. We're usually doing at least 80% of the household managing in terms of figuring out what food we need in the fridge, what to have for dinner, who needs to be driven where and when. We have to ask for help with the places we need it so that we can get it all done, right? So we need support so that we can also put ourselves on that priority list. Just like we would never miss our kids' swimming lessons or, hockey, we are just as important. All right, you guys, thank you so much for today. I know everyone needs to get back to their days. You all were inspiring. You all told us some really amazing things. I'm really excited that this is going to go up on the website so people can listen to it and watch it for forever and ever after this. And I know you will all inspire people with your stories. So thank you very much. If you have one little wrap up, whatever you want to say, Amy, 10 seconds or less.
Oh man, I don't. Just going to the gym is better than folding laundry, and laundry doesn't actually need to be folded.
No one will know in 30 years if you folded the laundry or not. True. Yael?
Yeah, I'm with Amy on that. Let's just, get started. Just go.
Leave the house messy. Go to the gym. Kristen, how about you?
Just do 100% of what you have that day, not 100% of your 100%, but whatever you have for that day.
If you have 40% and you give 40%, you gave 100. Yes. Sarah?
You're stronger than you think.
So much stronger than you think. And Jessie?
Mine is less inspiration, more just like, thank you, Kate, for creating such a beautiful space with such amazing people where it's comfortable to go and come as you are and to be able to exercise and build on, wherever you're at. And it's just been love your body is just so amazing. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Now I'm crying. Not that I'm crying, but thank you so much. That is my goal. All right. You guys are all wonderful women. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for this time. And I can't wait to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Kate.
You're welcome.